Alright, for Lab 2, Sheet 2, Gasket, notice that we have the same view, or the same object twice. This is looking down on the top of it, this is the side of it. So this is a gasket, we're looking down on top, this is the side. We need to find the location of these holes, where the center of these holes is. Well, if you notice, from the center of this hole down to the center of this hole is 2.5. From the center of this hole to the center of that hole is 4. So I'm going to grab my line, click on line, click somewhere on your screen, drag out your mouse towards the right, and type in 4 and enter. Okay, so there's our 4-inch line. Move your mouse straight up, type in 2.5 and enter. And then go back towards the left, 4 and enter. And then we can go back and click where we started and hit the escape key, or you can go to right click and go to enter. Alright, so now the corners of our rectangle are the center points for our circles. So now we need to find the size of the circles. Well, we got to find the dimension that points to them. So right here, there's a dimension that points right to that circle. Anytime you see a circle with a slash through it, that stands for diameter. Okay, so diameter is the circle with the slash on it, and the diameter goes from one side through the center to the other side. So there you go. That symbol equals diameter. Now, go up to the circle drop down, find center diameter, and it says specify the center point. We're going to click on the corner of our square, drag your mouse out, and it says specify the diameter, and we said that's 0.375, and hit enter. Alright, we're going to do that 3 more times. Go to the circle drop down, center diameter, click on the corner, type in the diameter. Now AutoCAD actually remembers the last thing you entered. So if you notice in the brackets there, it says 0.3750. So instead of typing that in again, I can just hit enter, and it remembers. Also, the drop down circle, whatever command you use, see how it has the diameter, the blue line going through it, puts it on top. So the top now is center diameter. So I just click on there, click on my center point, and then hit enter for the 0.375. If that's confusing, just do it the old way. Go down the center diameter, click on the center, type in 0.375 and enter. Alright, now we got to do the arcs. Well, all these arcs are just circles that have been trimmed. So notice that there's a big R, and R of course stands for radius. So now we're going to do a center radius, and the radius is 0.5. So it says specify the center point, click on the center, or where we want the center to be, and type in the radius, 0.5 and enter. Okay, the circle should be a lot bigger than the other one. Do that 3 more times. Notice that radius is on top now, so we can click there, click on our center point, and you can hit enter or type in 0.5. Because remember, hitting enter repeats the last distance we entered. Center radius, click on the center, hit enter to enter 0.5. Next, we want to draw this circle here, but the center point is way out here and we don't know where it's located. But we know that it touches the circle here and also touches the circle here. So a new command called tan radius, under circle drop down, go to tan radius. You can see a little animation if you hover your mouse over it long enough. Tangent means it touches the circle once. So it's not going to hit the circle twice, it's just going to touch it in one spot. So we're going to click in roughly this area. Don't click on the line, it's going to get confused. Don't click way out here, but click in between right here, and click the same on the opposite circle, right there. Now it says specify the radius, and we said it is a radius of 4. So 4 and enter. Do the same on the bottom. Circle, tan radius, click on the one circle, click on the opposite circle, enter the radius, which is already there for us, so just hit enter. Okay, we got to do the same for the sides here. Tan radius, click on the top circle, the bottom circle, 0.75. Tan radius, click on the one circle, click on another circle, 0.75. Now if you do that and it won't let you draw the circle, another way to get this is to go to circle center radius, and the center point is the midpoint of this line. Okay, the midpoint is from here to here. That's the midpoint, the middle. So we're going to click on that for the center of our radius, and then just type in the radius, 0.75. Alright, we're ready to trim. Go up to trim, click on trim. I like to select all, so notice that select all is in the brackets, hit enter to select all, and then trim off the big circle. And when you trim off these side ones, make sure you get the correct part. You trim off the correct part. We could trim a little bit more, but I'm going to save that for a little bit later. Next, let's get the slots. Now notice the center of this hole to the center of that slot is 1.5, and from here to this slot it's 2.5, but here's a little tip. This drawing is symmetrical, so the left half is the same as the right half. So if I offset over 1.5, I could go from this way over 1.5 to get that. Just saves us some time. So let's go to offset. Move your mouse down so you can see what it's asking. It says specify offset distance. We're going to type in 1.5 and enter. Select objects to offset. We're going to click on this line and offset it in towards the center, 1.5. Like I said, since it's symmetrical, we can click on the other side and bring that in towards the center, 1.5. Now we don't know where along this line the slot goes. We know the slot from center here to center here is 1.5, but we don't know how far up and down. But we do because we know that this slot divides our part in half. So if I draw a line down the center and I offset half of 1.5 up and half of 1.5 down. So what's half of 1.5? 0.75, right? So click on the line tool, draw a line from midpoint to midpoint, that splits it in half. And now we're going to offset 0.75 up and offset 0.75 down. So offset, specify the distance, 0.75 and enter. Click on the line up and click on the middle line down. And now where those intersect is where our 4 circles are going to go. So now we need to know the size of the circle. Well, right here there's a dimension pointing to it. And it says it's an R.141. So that's center radius. Click on the center point for the radius. Now type in the radius, 0.141, and enter. Do that 3 more times. Circle, center radius, click on there, 0.141. You could hit enter to repeat the last command, specify the center point, hit enter to repeat the distance. Hit enter to repeat the command, click on the center point, hit enter to repeat the distance. Okay, I'm going to select these lines now and just delete them, get them out of there. Don't trim them, just select and delete. While we're at it, we could select these and delete them with the delete key above the arrow key. Alright, next we're going to just draw the 4 lines to connect the two. So line tool, you should get a little quadrant. If that little diamond's not showing up, right click on object snap and make sure you have quadrant turned on. All these should be turned on except for nearest. The bottom 3 should be not turned on, they should be off. So stop at tangent. Alright, so we're going to go from quadrant to quadrant, hit enter to finish, hit enter to repeat the last command, quadrant to quadrant, hit enter to finish, enter to repeat the next command, quadrant to quadrant, enter, enter, quadrant to quadrant. There we go. Now we got to trim. trim, hit enter to select all. Don't forget to hit enter. We can trim off the 4 corners and in between our slots. Okay, so the top part's done. To do this side view, we're going to go from the quadrant down 2.75, and from the quadrant on this side down 2.75. So click on line, and make sure you click on quadrant and not midpoint. Okay, notice there's a little midpoint here, and that's going to be a little bit off. We want the quadrant. Alright, drag your mouse down, 2.75 and enter, hit escape, do line again from this quadrant, that's the little diamond, move your mouse down, 2.75 and enter, connect the 2 lines together, okay, that gives us this top line. Now we need to come down to get the bottom line, 0.3, click on them. I'm going to offset this time, offset 0.3 and enter. Offset that down, hit escape, select those lines and delete them, connect the dots, draw a line from there, draw a line from there. Next, we need to get these dashed lines. They're called hidden lines. And we're actually going to use the line type hidden 2. So to do that, up top where it says properties, find the by layer drop down. Okay, so right here, yours is going to look more like this. Go down to other. Okay, we're going to load in the line, so click on load. Go down until you find hidden 2, so H, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, hidden 2, not hidden X2, but the middle one, the 0.5 one. Hit OK, and hit OK again, and now when you go back to your by layer, hidden 2 will be there that you can select. So I'm going to select hidden 2, grab my line tool, and what we're going to do is drop down lines from each edge of the slots, the edge of the holes, and the edge of the rounded circle here. Okay, so there's 10 total, 5 on each half. So again, quadrant, go down to its perpendicular, hit enter to finish, enter the repeat, quadrant to quadrant, or perpendicular, enter the repeat. Okay, you can see you can start getting kind of fast here. And count, you should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got them all. A lot of times people miss these too. Next we're going to trim, but we're going to trim a little bit different. Click on the trim tool. Instead of hitting enter, it says select objects. I'm going to select this line as my object and then hit enter. So click on that line, then hit enter. And anything we trim above that line is going to get completely trimmed off. And what I could do is actually draw a big rectangle and get them all in one shot. Okay, let me do that again. Trim, click on the top line, hit enter, trim them all off. Alright, copy and paste the title block over, so select the title block, grab the other 2 lines, Control C the copy, Control V the paste. If you need to use a move tool, select everything that you want to move and click on move. It's going to say specify a base point, that's where you want to move it from, just click on a corner and you can move it in there. Okay, to edit the title block, double click on the text and rename it Lab 2 Sheet 2 Gasket. Put your class, whatever night your class is, update your name, and then we're ready to print. You can rewatch the video on how to print if you can't remember. The print scale is 1:1. So when you go to print, you need the printer, the HP 5200. Click on the window, click on one corner, click on the opposite corner, center the plot, turn off fit the page and make it 1:1. You can also just type in 1 here, apply the layout, and hit OK. turn in for grading.